respect to October the 7th. And today we've decided we're going to take a little bit of a shift because politics came back yesterday in a very funny way. It reared its funny head, and if this is the future of America, oh boy. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our noon Eastern Friday edition of the RAN Network. This is a podcast hosted by myself, David Solomon, and Stuart Brisgell. I'm in Montreal, Canada, watching the reality show that is the United States with my friend Stuart, who is in Florida. And this is important for me to stress why he's in Florida today. Generally, we bring you unfiltered and uncensored conversations on a wide variety of topics. This podcast is dedicated to giving you the platform to express your opinions, share your thoughts, experiences, ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives and, quite frank, unedited, honest opinions. So today we're going to dive into the politics side of things in the United States. So sit back and relax as we go through this ridiculous debate that went on last night. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsome, he thinks he is the next coming of probably Christ, but he's really, really, really itching to be the next president of the United States. And he's really, he's going on tour, going to China to visit Xi, cleaning up San Francisco just when Xi comes in. He talks and acts like he is the next president of the United States. But he isn't. He isn't even running. But he's talking like he knows what he's talking about. And California is the greatest state in the union. Flip it to the other side of the coast, and ladies and gentlemen, we've got Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis of Florida. There's my reason why I'm pushing Stuart today. Governor DeSantis of Florida, the media hates him. The liberal media hates him because all he does is oppose what the liberal media wants and get stuff done. While Gavin Newsome could not explain last night why 750,000 people left the state of California, Florida has grown in the past 2 years by 454,000. Stuart, I didn't get a chance to watch the debate last night. I've read about it, but I'm going to punt it to you. I'm going to ask you your opinion on the DeSantis-Newsome battle.
All right, well, let's get ready to rumble, I guess, because, that's a cliche that someone knows. But nevertheless, if you watched last night and you are a die-hard Democrat and you think Governor Newsome won, there's no hope for you at this point.
Not even for Rupert? Not even for Rupert?
Not even for Rupert. In fact, Rupert, who lives in California,
that's why I brought him up,
should be disgraced, as that's the governor of. Hey, listen. Everyone has seen what's gone on in San Francisco before the visiting of the Chinese and after. Okay. Everyone knows that California is the woke, broke state of the union with more debt than anywhere else in the country. Yes, it's probably the industrial complex of technology in the United States. Totally agree. And the decentralization that, Newsom brought up that the federal government put into place, which gave $28 billion to Florida, was to try and decentralize California from that position. Now, Governor Newsom totes it as, Florida took it as a payoff from big corp. Nope. It's for decentralizing California, making their position in technology no different than any other state. Because you know what? It's too close to China. In fact, Newsom is too close to China. The pandas are gone. Governor Newsom tried to save them. But Governor Newsom also believes that in COVID, he had the right thing to do. Well, per 100,000 statistic of CDC, that Governor Newsom argued. Now, listen, if you are a Republican or just say you're not a Democrat, you really don't like the numbers from the CDC. However, the Democrats lived by these numbers. Well, they live by numbers so long as they agree with them. And if they don't agree with them, well, they can't be true and they're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. And that is exactly what Governor Newsom was resorting to have to say. He also was fact-checked on brilliant amounts of points by left wing media as being, well, less than truthful. You know, Governor Newsom was sucking the pinky finger of Biden and licking the lips of Kamala. Because if you misenunciated Kamala, oh, no, he actually corrected DeSantis. It's not Kamala, it's Vice President Kamala Harris, sir. You know, I remember when Bloomberg, all the reporters just calling it Trump, 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 Trump. Not President Trump, not President elect Trump, not candidate Trump, but just Trump. But if you want to go out and say Kamala and not say Vice President Kamala Harris, Newsom's insulted. You know, Newsom, your mother in law and father in law moved to the great state of Florida, as did, I believe it's more like 700,000 people moved to Florida, 400,000 estimated from the state of California. Again, very, very hard to check that out because many Californians have yet to turn in their California license plates to the Florida DMV, which, by the way, that's how this is calculated. It's not some arbitrary number that someone who's fudging numbers. If you turned your driver's license in from one state, it's recorded. Okay. But Newsom's in denial. His state is in decline. He's in denial that he leads the union in crime. He leads in the grouping of crime. He leads 2-1, 3-1 from Florida. But if you wanted to be a true brainwashed Democrat, he smiled a lot. He spoke to the people. He took plays right out of Biden's basement playbook. Let me talk to America. I don't want to talk to you because Newsom can't talk to anyone except himself because he's a slick oil salesman. He's a 56-year-old salesman. That's all he is. He believes he's a champion of the environment. Well, he said he was tough with Xi Jinping. It looks like he was licking the souls of Xi Jinping. You know, if you wanted to blame Reagan for the state of California as being a bad governor, listen, you can make up stuff, you can try and lie, but the facts are Newsom sat there lying after lie after lie. Now, DeSantis did misstep a little bit, acted like a little bit of an immature kid. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. And sounded repetitive. And that's his vernacular, which I find somewhat annoying and less than as polished as a guy that he really is. Maybe, you know, guys like Mitt Romney that have decades of public service in front of a camera allowed him to be more populist. But I got to tell you, DeSantis isn't trying to murder babies or don't say gay. I think Newsom's trying to say anything you possibly can to retain control. Something, David, that I find no different than any other progressive Democrat. You know, he couldn't even go out, and when he had the opportunity to call out the squad from his party, he said that he's the anti-Semitic and he's in favor that Hamas is a terrorist organization. But he couldn't go further and call out his Democratic colleagues for being not only anti-Semitic, anti-Israel. Now, I would love Newsom to go back and visit Gaza. I'd like him to go visit the West Bank. I'd like him to report back to his queer-ass folk state how they are treated in Gaza, how they're treated in the West Bank. Just stop there. I'm not saying go to Egypt or Saudi Arabia or any other Arab country. Just stick to that part of the Middle East and report back to the woke broke state as to how they are treated. Women are not praised in that country. They're murdered. And you know what else they are? These terrorist grandchildren. But he couldn't stop about it. But DeSantis was clear and concise about Hamas, Israel, and having to finish the job. And for that, the federal government, the United States, to stay out of their lane. But Newsom couldn't do it. The same way he can't come to saying facts, even when they're literally put on the screen from sources like the federal government, which is operated in whole in its entirety by the DNC. David, I've rambled on for 10 and a half
No,
minutes.
that's good. It's actually great because I got to tell you, like I said, I didn't watch this last night.
Right, but I had to bring in October 7th.
No, but I got to tell you,
there's just ignorance.
But when Sean Hannity announced that they're going to have this debate,
I loved it.
I said that the only winner or loser could possibly be Ron DeSantis.
Yep.
Because Gavin Newsom has no stake right now. He has nothing. Okay. He was on the Fox News network, which meant that Sean Hannity was going to go after him. He was never.
No, but David,
Stuart. No. This is the spin. This will be the spin by the liberal media, right? The same way Vivek went after NBC, they're going to go after, Sean Hannity. Now, I got to tell you, I've heard Hannity lately, and I've heard the way he asks his questions, whatever. And I'm sure he challenged DeSantis, and I'm sure he challenged Newsom. The thing that blows my mind, okay, is Gavin Newsom is the Mr. Do as I say, not as I do. Right? Let's remind everybody that during COVID, when he told everybody you can't go out, went into a restaurant with his buddies.
French Laundry.
Okay. When Ron DeSantis said, we're not going to do masks, of course, everybody criticized him. They criticized the living crap out of him. All right.
Yep. But again, both states polarly opposite COVID responses, except the mortality rate was almost even.
California, no. I just in 2021. So here's how they play the numbers. In 2021, okay, California had about 109. Florida had about 190 per 100,000, and in 2020, and Florida and California was about 120. So there was a 50% difference, and in that, Newsom's going to wrap himself and say, "You see, I'm great, but here's the problem." Okay. I don't trust the COVID statistics because what we found out is that every death.
Yeah, because you wait. But you're looking at the wrong numbers.
No, it's not about that. Let's put that aside. Forget about mortality rates because everybody likes to show. In order to push California, let's talk about mortality rates. Let's talk about real things. Schools were closed in California. Kids couldn't go to school. What's the impact? Let's talk about Have we looked in, psychiatric wards and we looked at psychological impact? No, we want to talk about death. And death seems to be the only thing that matters in COVID. COVID has a massive amount of issues. I'll give you something else, okay? I'm going to give you another thing to think about, okay? And you really, you're nailing it here. When you go into Florida, yeah, we're going to see homeless in Miami. Yeah, we're going to see a few things floating around there. But the crime and the homelessness in California today is rampant. Okay, businesses are absolutely annihilated thanks to Gavin Newsom's ignorance, his lack of care for his people.
Yeah, but he did it. But you missed that part where he even spun that it's not him. It was from years since 1990.
Yeah, he blames Reagan. So here's the thing. You know what the funniest comment about that is, Stuart? I was in San Francisco in 1982. Okay. And yes, I did see the homeless and I did see other people. Okay. And homelessness has been around for a long time. But Gavin, this is the typical political way of doing things. Let me point the finger at somebody else to blame. But where are your policies? Show us your policies that you've
changed. He has policies. He has policies. They are so woke, it's insane. You know what? More people will leave California, and I pray to God that these morons don't elect this guy, because at that conference, David, anything goes. And Newsom knows that if Biden has one more slip, they're going to push him in.
I'm going to tell you, we're going to wrap it up right here in just a second, but I got to tell you, DeSantis did not convince me he is presidential yet. He's done a good job.
Got a long way to go.
But Gavin Newsom just proved to me he's petty and a baby. And maybe like Bill Clinton, who screwed up the first time he tried to run, he might need a little more seasoning before we get there. Stuart, on that note,
one last comment. if Newsom had the brains that Clinton did, it would be maybe possible. This guy's dumber than a
Not
doornail. Sorry,
happening.
Rhodes
Not happening.
Scholar, moron, just
It's not
doesn't cut
about
it.
that.
David,
Stuart,
wrap it up.
Stuart, when Clinton spoke at one of the Democratic conventions, he blew his brains out and he blew his candidacy for
But
one whole term.
he's still a Rhodes Scholar. He's got a brain.
No, but I know, but it
Newsom
doesn't
is a
matter.
puppet,
It's just
man.
a question of approach. He needs a little seasoning and polish. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in today to the Rant Network. No, unfortunately, the crisis between Israel and Hamas has not gone away. No, we have not forgotten about it, and we will more than likely be back on this next week. But for this, we trust we found some value in today's dialogue and a little more insight into how stupid American politics is. We'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Ladies and gentlemen, our YouTube page, please go visit our YouTube page. We're getting quite a few comments on there from people who really not agreeing with us. So if you want to see reaction, please go there and check it out. Our website, social media, you name it. For that, we want to wish you a good weekend. Stuart, last word?
Gotta watch that broadcast, man. And you gotta watch its entirety. Skip the snips. Watch it for an hour. Guys, don't listen to any network. Watch the entire broadcast. And I'll tell you something. Hannity was a gentleman with Newsom. I just got to tell you that.
All right. Let's go with that. Ladies and gentlemen, until Monday,